Welcome students. Today we are going to discuss properties of colloidal solution. First, physical properties. There are four physical properties. First, heterogeneous nature. This is due to presence of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Next is stability. Colloidal solutions are quite stable due to random motion of colloidal particles which do not settle down. Next is filtrability. We have already discussed about electrodialysis, in which colloidal particles remain in cellophane bag and crystalloids come out of it, which shows that colloidal particles do not pass through animal membrane or parchment membrane. Next is visibility and color. Colloidal particles are not visible to naked eye or ordinary microscope. The color of the colloidal solution depends upon the wavelength of the light scattered by colloidal particles, which in turn depends upon the size and nature of particles. For example, in a gold sol, if the particles are very fine, the color is red. But with growing size of the particles, the color changes to purple, then blue and finally golden. Next is colligative properties. There are four colligative properties, that is osmotic pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point and relative lowering of vapor pressure. These properties depend upon the number of moles and hence on the number of particles present. Colloidal particles have very high average molecular masses and hence the number of moles present in solution will be extremely small. However, some colloids have measurable osmotic pressure, which have been determined with a reasonable degree of accuracy. Hence, measurement of osmotic pressure has been used to determine the average molecular masses of colloidal particles. Next is mechanical properties. Robert Brown in 1827 observed a zigzag motion of pollen grains suspended in water, and hence it is called Brownian movement. Thus, Brownian movement may be defined as continuous zigzag movement, as shown in this figure, of the colloidal particles in a colloidal solution. What is the cause of Brownian movement? The reason of Brownian movement is based on the fact that the molecules of dispersion medium, due to their kinetic motion, strike against the colloidal particles from all sides with different forces. The resultant forces causes them to move. However, colloidal particles, being comparatively heavier, move with a slower speed. Next is the importance of Brownian movement. First, stability of colloidal solution. As Brownian movement opposes the force of gravity and does not allow the colloidal particles to settle down, thus it is responsible for stability of colloidal solution. It also helped in determination of Avogadro's number. Next is optical properties. Tyndall effect. This phenomenon was observed by Tyndall in 1869 and is called Tyndall effect. Thus, Tyndall effect may be defined as the scattering of light by the colloidal particles present in a colloidal solution. As shown in this figure, if we project a flash of light on true solution and colloidal solution, the path of light is visible in the beaker containing colloidal solution. This is due to scattering of light by colloidal particles, but no path is visible in the beaker containing true solution. Similarly, in case of nature, when sunlight enters through canopy of trees, its path is visible to us. This is due to scattering by dust particles present in air. Next is importance of Tyndall effect. It confirms the heterogeneous nature of the colloidal solution because it consists of two phases, dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Next is electrical properties. First, stability of colloidal soles. Electrical charges on colloidal particles. The stability of a colloidal solution is due to the fact that the colloidal particles in the sole are electrically charged. The particles therefore repel one another and do not come close together to form large non-colloidal particles. Colloidal particles carry either positive or negative charge. All the dispersed particles in a colloidal solution carry the same charge, while the dispersion medium has an equal and opposite charge. Here is the table containing charge on particles of some common soles. Negatively charged soles. First, metallic particles like copper, gold, silver soles. Metal sulfides like cadmium sulfide, etc. Third, starch, gum, gelatin, clay, charcoal, etc. Acidic dyes like Congo red, eosine soles. These are all negatively charged soles. Next is positively charged soles. Contains metal hydroxides like ferric hydroxide, aluminium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, etc. Hydrated metal oxides like aluminium oxide XH2O, ferric oxide XH2O, etc. Next is oxides like titanium oxide, etc. Hemoglobin, basic dyes like methylene blue, Persian blue, etc. These all are positively charged soles. Origin of charge on colloidal particles. This can be done by the following ways. First is frictional electrification. It is caused by the mutual rubbing of the colloidal particles with molecules of the dispersion medium due to movement of the colloidal particles in the dispersion medium. Next is electron capture. Electron capture by particles from air and during electrodispersion in Bradyk's arc method. Next is preferential adsorption of ions from solution. An ionic colloid adsorbs ions common to its own lattice during the preparation of colloidal sole. For example, if colloidal sole of AgI silver iodide is prepared by adding Ki solution, potassium iodide solution, to AgNO3 silver nitrate solution till Ki is in slight excess. Iodide ions will be adsorbed on the surface of AgI particles, thereby giving them a negative charge as shown in this figure. Ag positive ions remain in dispersed medium and I negative ions are adsorbed on the AgI colloidal sole. On the other hand, if the colloidal sole of AgI is prepared by adding AgNO3 solution to Ki solution till AgNO3 is in slight excess, then Ag positive ions will be adsorbed, thereby giving positive charge to the colloidal particles as shown. Here the I negative ions remain in the dispersion medium and Ag positive ions are adsorbed on the AgI molecule and giving them a positive charge, which shows the positive soul. Next is the dissociation of molecules followed by aggregation of ions. For example, in case of soap, the RCOO negative groups get dissociated from Na positive ions and have a tendency to aggregate into a cluster carrying negative charge. The particles of a dye have a tendency to dissociate to form aggregates carrying positive or negative charge depending upon its composition. Next is dissociation of molecular electrolytes adsorbed on the surface of particles. For example, hydrogen sulfide molecules get adsorbed on colloidal particles of sulfide during precipitation. By dissociation of hydrogen sulfide, H positive ions are lost, thereby giving a negative charge to colloidal particles. Electrokinetic or zeta potential. When one type of ions of the electrolyte are adsorbed on the surface of colloidal particles, that is negatively charged particles, and these are the ions from the electrolyte, they form a fixed layer. It attracts the counter ions from the medium, forming a second layer which is mobile and is called diffused layer. This is the diffused layer. The double layer of opposite charges thus formed is called Helmholtz electrical double layer. As a result, a difference of potential exists between the fixed layer and the diffused layer. This potential difference is known as electrokinetic potential or zeta potential, as shown. This is the zeta potential. This is between negatively charged particles. This is the fixed layer and this is the mobile layer. The difference between the potential of these two layers is called zeta potential. Next is electrophoresis. Electrophoresis is the movement of colloidal particles under the influence of electric field. As shown in this figure, water is the dispersion medium. Here is the initial level of water and these are the colloidal particles, and this solution is called colloidal solution. And these are two electrodes. One is anode, that is negatively charged, and other is cathode, which is positively charged. And this is the reservoir and this is stopcock. When electric current is passed through this colloidal solution, the colloidal particles move towards the oppositely charged electrode, that is cathode. As soon as the colloidal particles reach the oppositely charged electrode, they get neutralized there and hence coagulated. Thus, electrophoresis can be used to find out the nature of the charge that the colloidal particles carry. Electroosmosis. Electroosmosis may be defined as the phenomena in which the molecules of dispersion medium are allowed to move under the influence of electric field whereas colloidal particles are not allowed to move. This is shown in this figure. Here it is semi-permeable membrane, and this is the colloidal solution, and this is water. Only water molecules can pass through this semi-permeable membrane, and the colloidal particles remain in this region under the influence of electric field. And this phenomenon was observed by Ruiz in 1809 and Porret in 1816. Coagulation or flocculation or precipitation. It is a process of aggregating together the colloidal particles so as to change them into large sized particles which ultimately settle as a precipitate. Coagulation is generally brought about by addition of electrolytes or coagulants, as shown in this figure. When a coagulant is added to a solution containing impurities, the particles of the solution traps the impurities which are of oppositely charged and thus get neutralized. The ion responsible for neutralization of charge on the colloidal particles is called coagulating ion or flocculating ion. The neutral particles then start accumulating to form particles of larger size which settle down as a precipitate. When a small amount of electrolyte is added, that is, when the concentration of the electrolyte added is low, the process is called flocculation. Here is the lake water. When we add small amount of electrolyte, it starts precipitated and settle down. This process is called flocculation. It can be reversed on shaking, but at higher concentration, coagulation takes place, and the process cannot be reversed simply by shaking. Next is Hardy-Schulze law. The main points of this law is: first, the effective ions of the electrolyte in bringing about coagulation are those which carry charge opposite to that of colloidal particle. These ions are called coagulating ions or flocculating ions. Next is: greater is the valency of coagulating ion, greater is its power to bring about coagulation. The coagulation values of few electrolytes are given in the table. For coagulation of negatively charged sol, that is arsenious sulfide, it is clear from this table that when the charge on the cation is increases, the coagulation value decreases. That is, for Na positive it is 52, Mg2 positive it is 0.72, for aluminium 3 positive it is 0.093. And for coagulation of a positively charged sol, that is ferric hydroxide, charge on the anion increases. As the charge on the anion increases, the coagulation value decreases. That is, Br negative, its value is 138. SO4 2 negative, its value is 0.210, and for FeCN6 3 negative, it is 0.096. Thus, for coagulation of negatively charged sol, that is arsenious sulfide, trivalent anions, that is Al3 positive, are far more effective than divalent ions, that is Mg2 positive, which in turn are more effective than Na positive ions or monovalent cations. Similarly, for coagulation of positively charged sol, that is ferric hydroxide, trivalent anions are far more effective than divalent anions, that is SO4 2 negative, which in turn are more effective than monovalent anions, that is Br negative, Cl negative, etc. Next is coagulating power. Coagulating power is inversely proportional to coagulating or fluctuating value. To compare the relative coagulating powers of two electrolytes for the same colloidal sol, we have coagulating power of electrolyte 1 upon coagulating power of electrolyte 2, which is equal to coagulation value of electrolyte 2 upon coagulation value of electrolyte 1. For a negatively charged sol like arsenious sulfide, the coagulating power of the cations are in the order Al3 positive are more effective than Ba2 positive are more effective than Na positive. For a positively charged sol like ferric hydroxide, the coagulating power of the anions are in the order FeCN64 negative has more coagulating power than PO43 negative, which in turn more coagulating power than SO42 negative, and which in turn more coagulating power than Cl negative ions. Coagulation can be caused by following methods. First is electrophoresis. In electrophoresis, the particles of dispersed phase move towards oppositely charged electrode and get neutralized. If the process is continued for sufficient time, these neutral particles unite and grow in size and settle down. Next is mutual precipitation. It is a process in which oppositely charged sols are mixed in proper proportions to neutralize the charges of each other, causing coagulation of both the sols. For example, if positively charged ferric hydroxide and negatively charged arsenious sulfide sols are mixed, both the sols get coagulated. Next is by prolonged dialysis. The stability of a colloidal sol is due to presence of small amount of electrolyte. On prolonged dialysis, the electrolyte is completely removed. As a result, the colloidal sol becomes unstable and gets coagulated. Next is by heating or cooling. In some cases, heating the sol results into coagulation. For example, coagulation of butter. When a sol is boiled, the adsorbed layer is disturbed because the number of collisions on them by the molecules of dispersion medium increases. Consequently, the charge on the particles decreases. Hence, the stability decreases, leading to their settling down as a precipitate. Similarly, in case of cooling, for example, on cooling of milk, fats start floating on the surface of milk. Next is emulsions. Emulsion is a colloidal dispersion in which both the dispersed phase and the dispersion mediums are liquids, and these liquids are immiscible, means do not mix with each other, as shown in this figure. For example, oil in water. Next is emulsifying agents. These are the substances for stabilization of emulsions. For example, soaps or lyophilic colloids like proteins, etc. Role of emulsifiers. If a drop of oil is surrounded by soap solution, as shown in this figure, the hydrophobic part remains in the oil, that is hydrocarbon tail, which is soluble in oil, remains in the oil, and the hydrophilic part, that is polar head, which is soluble in water, is in the water, as shown. Thus, soap molecules are concentrated over the surface of the drop of oil. As a result, the interfacial tension between oil and water decreases, and hence they are intermixed into each other to form the emulsion. Thus, micelles are formed. Types of emulsion. There are two types of emulsion. First is water in oil emulsion, in which dispersed phase is water and dispersion medium is oil. For example, butter and cold cream. Next is oil in water emulsion, in which oil is the dispersed phase and water is the dispersion medium or continuous phase. For example, milk or vanishing cream. To test the type of emulsion, there are three tests which took place to test the type of emulsions. First is dilution test or microscopic method, in which if we take oil in water emulsion and add few drops of water or dilute it with water, then no phase change occurs. And if we add oil in it, then phase changes. In the next, if we take water in oil emulsion and diluted it with oil, no phase change. And if we dilute it with water, then phase changes. This shows that it is water in oil emulsion. Next is dye test. A small amount of an oil soluble dye is added to the emulsion. If it is water in oil type, it becomes deeply colored. Otherwise, it remains colorless, as shown in this figure. Next is conductivity test. This method is based upon adding a small amount of electrolyte to the emulsion. If the bulb glows, it means it is oil in water emulsion. If bulb does not glow, it means it is water in oil emulsions. Properties of emulsions. It exhibits all properties like Tyndall effect, Brownian movement, electrophoresis, coagulation, etc. Emulsions can be separated by boiling, freezing, centrifuging, etc. Process of separation of the constituent liquids of an emulsion is called de-emulsification. Emulsions can be diluted by adding any amount of the dispersion medium. Applications of emulsions. In metallurgical processes, powdered ore is treated with oil emulsion. Next is milk is an emulsion of liquid fat in water. Next, several oily drugs are prepared in the form of emulsions. Dettol and Lysol give emulsions of oil in water type on mixing with water. Digestion of fats in intestine takes place by a process of emulsification. Gels. The colloidal system constituting the liquid as dispersed phase and solid as dispersion medium. For example, jellies. Gels are of two types, elastic gels and non-elastic gels. Elastic gels are those which can be changed to solid mass on dehydration, which can again be converted into gel by addition of water followed by heating and cooling. Next, for example, gelatin and starch. Non-elastic gels which cannot be changed into original form by heating with water when they are changed into solid mass on dehydration. For example, silicic acid. Applications of colloids. These are some important applications of colloid. First is medicines. For example, argyl oil is a silver sore used as an eye lotion. Colloidal antimony used for curing Kala Azar. Colloidal gold is used for intramuscular injections. Next is blood. It is a colloidal solution of albuminoid and the bleeding stops on applying ferric chloride solution due to coagulation of blood forming a clot. Next is cleansing action of soap. Soap solution is colloidal in nature. It removes the dirt particles either by adsorption or by emulsifying the dirt particles. Next is formation of delta. River water contains charged colloidal particles, that is negatively charged colloidal sand and clay particles. And sea water contains number of electrolytes. When they come in contact with sea water, they get neutralized here with the positive charge and ultimately settle down at the point of contact. As a result, water adopts a different course and delta is formed. It is also used in paint industries as an emulsion. Next is smoke screen. In warfare, smoke screens are used, which are colloidal dispersion of certain substances like titanium oxide or silicon chloride in air. Next is tanning are used in leather industries. The process of hardening of leather is known as tanning. Tannin is a substance obtained from plants. It contains negatively charged colloidal particles. When it is placed in animal hides, which are positively charged particles, they get coagulated and leather formed. Chromium salts are also used in place of tanning. Next application is formation of artificial rain. Artificial rain can be caused by spraying electrified or oppositely charged colloidal dust or sand particles over a cloud. The colloidal water particles present in the cloud will get neutralized and coagulate to form bigger water drops, causing artificial rain.